All right, here we go. The first one up of the new series is It's a Sacred. He sent over this logo a long time ago. I tweeted something out a while ago and basically said, I'm going to reboot the Fix My Logo series from like 4 years ago, maybe longer. And I tweeted this out probably a year ago. But here we are today, 2019. We're doing it. It's Sacred sent over his logo. It's that logo that you see there on the left with the supernova spacey background. He has a pretty blocky S in a circle. And this is me redoing it. We're going to try a little sped up version of it because every file that wasn't sped up was basically 20 to 30 minutes long, and that would make an hour and 30-minute video because we're going to be doing 3 logos here today as we spice up It's Sacred's logo in the background. You could already see it taking shape. I mean, sometimes the simplest way to fix your logo is just start deleting stuff and going back to where you started. I see he added a little drop shadow. He might even have a bevel and emboss. And the biggest glaring problem of his logo is the fact that he has that supernova spacey background. It looks really cool, but as in functionality, a logo can't have like an image like that. It just doesn't. It's not going to be able to be placed in a lot of spots. Like as a graphic, you could 100% do that and put it on like a shirt or something. But as a logo, you're going to want it to look very good, just white and black. And that's where you start. You always start white and black and make sure before you add any colors that it looks good on its own. Right now, you can see me putting together a triangle and then shaping the sides to curve in a little bit. And this is my supernova flare in his logo. Very subtle, very clean. I just wanted a little bit of love in there. And yeah. So that's kind of where I went. Instead of putting a picture of a supernova sky, we kind of just went with these 3 star patterns. And I think it looks really good. That ends up being one of the ones we go with. I altered it a little bit. You guys will all see the final pieces at the end of this time lapse. And color's very important. I know I just got over saying, what, you gotta look good black and white, but it's very important. Like, we picked out 3 colors here. I end up changing the blue a little bit because we go with a darker background because that's what he sent it to me on. So yeah, color is very important. Also, you got to make sure thicken up your lines. Like I feel like a lot of the logos that people send me, it's not strong. You want it to be strong. I always think about logos as like, do you know like how you have a stamp and you put it into the ink and then you put it on a paper? You need to be able to do that and stamp a logo and it looks strong, you know what I mean? And there's times where you stamp that stamp into the ink and then you put it on the paper and some of your lines, if they're too thin, won't even show up. So I always have that in my head where I'm like, it needs to be strong. It needs to be thick. The lines need to be good. Like it needs to be clean. You need to see it from a good distance. You saw me experimenting there and it didn't work at all. I tried to use shapes to cut out the S and kind of make a more interesting thing. But that's what a graphic design for me a lot of the times is about. It's experimenting with certain things. Sometimes it works and sometimes you just pull back the reins. And when you pull back the reins after experimenting, sometimes you're left with a little bit of leftover design from your experimenting, but sometimes it just doesn't work, and that's okay. Like if you don't try things that you might think won't work, if you don't try them or explore that, you're gonna lose out on a lot of cool ideas. Sometimes things happen by accident. Like you're trying one thing, but you place the shape in a certain direction and it looks cool that way. Right here, I think off to the bottom right might look good at first, but instead I toss it in the middle. And I think that's a pretty awesome logo. I mean, we're getting somewhere, right? I widened the S letter a little bit. I had some issues with the points there. Widened the S logo a little bit and then made the cutouts a little bit smaller to give the supernova stars some room to breathe. And that's a cool looking logo. Like we kind of embellish on that a little bit, and that's another one of the final logo looks. I end up with 2 logos that I liked enough to call final. But yeah, you can see this next one here. This is kind of, I think, even a better look. Right now, it doesn't look that good in black and white, but it will once I add the stroke to the star in a little bit. But as you can see, we have, 5 looks there that are already pretty strong. They're not bad. I really like that blocky one on the top left. Here's where we start adding color to that one that I was telling you about. I tried like putting another one inside, but zoom out, it starts to get a little blurry. And anytime you zoom out on your logo and you start to lose some focal points, just destroy whatever you put in there that made it look like that. So you could see me messing around with the stroke here. I wanted to get it right. I realized that the pink part needed to be a little bit bigger. I started messing around with some colors, but threw it on the black background, and we started figuring out the colorway. Again, colors is just like design, man. You throw some colors at your design, and then you look at it, and then you start deleting. A lot of design in my book, in my brain, is just removing stuff that doesn't need to be there. So you could see me putting together some of the final looks, and we're about to show you a little bit of a higher res of the final looks here in a second once I wrap these up. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. On to the next logo. All right, the next one we got is logo number 2, sent to us by Donnie at Mike Jestik on Twitter. He said, I was wanting to make a retro arcade logo, something you'd see in the 90s, looks too crisp. I don't know how to fix it. So yeah, this is our shot at it. I came right out the gate with the Sega-esque font and started to edit it, as you can see here. Basically, Control-Shift-O will turn the text into a shape that you can edit in Illustrator, and that's what I started to do. Start connecting some of the lines where I felt like the lines wanted to go. His logo just says Arcade Boulevard, so that's what we're working off, Arcade Boulevard. You'll see it on the left side of the screen here a little bit once I zoom out. I also did a little bit of a step stair angle on the A and the E on both sides to kind of give it a triangular logo. I don't know what it is, but when I think of old arcadey games, I feel like logos usually go up and away. So I kind of did a little bit of that to kind of show that direction of the piece. And then took out some of the middle of the A to make it a little less noisy. And as you can see here, added a baseline. I don't know what happened to my voice. I went straight to Minnesota. There was a little white piece in the middle of the R and the C, so I had to fill that up. And then the idea here is to select the letters, and then you go to the compound path, and then you release it. So basically, instead of each letter being a path, it breaks up the letters into each of the lines being its own separate path, which allows me to then go in and color it the way I envisioned it. It was kind of like a 70s. I don't know what's the deal with the 70s, because I just had the logo 1 gave me a 70s vibe. I guess maybe it inspired the colorway, but I wanted something retro here. So this is the colors we went with. Happy accident right here. You're seeing it live. I didn't think about doing another logo, but that piece up there kind of shot out at me when I did the same color background as the outer rim color. So yeah, happy accident. We'll expand upon that in a little bit here, but we are going to see this logo through as we add the Boulevard sign underneath it. Again, a little bit cheesy to go. I just wanted to be traditional and true to an arcade. So that's why we want the Sega-esque lettering. And then a little bit cheesy, like I said, we go with a street sign here. A street sign looking logo for Boulevard. It just felt right. I feel like when you can be like cheesy and stuff like that, it's for like things like this, like an arcade logo or something like that. Had a little bit of issue with the stroke here, but we end up figuring it out eventually. It takes about 10 hours, but no big deal. You know how street signs usually have an outline around them, so I was trying to mimic that. And then also street signs will sometimes have the name of the street, and then they'll have like a little ST or a little boulevard, BLVD, on the right side of it. So to mimic that, I put the year of the arcade opening. I don't know if this is a real business. I don't think it is, but you know, anything could have went there. You know, the year they started or just whatever. Even the state, like if it was in New Jersey, it would be NJ. just something to make it more look like a street sign. So just messing with the centering, and gonna get a square out there to match up to his one that he showed me. I kept accidentally grabbing the happy accident up there. And yeah, that's our first look. I really, really like it. I think the colorway is great. And I think the logo is really clean. And it does what it needs to do. But now we're going to expand upon this one. Again, you saw the happy accident. Sometimes things like this happen. So when it happens, you know, run with it. So that's what we're going to try to do here to make the second logo a little bit of a different look, but also have the same sort of vibe here. So as you saw, we did some lines inside the A, and then we just connected some of the letters, and that's honestly really it. I mean, it's a good enough looking logo as is. So I just put it on a dark background, kind of messed around with the colors a little bit. I started around all the edges because I realized the pieces I put inside the A were rounded. So yeah, you'll see me, I think, round all the edges here in a second. I don't know. Oh, another happy accident. I totally forgot about this. Yeah, I made it. I did the thing called Make Pixel Perfect in Illustrator, and it like moved like our lines, but it made it look very interesting. So it's another happy accident, 2 in a row on this logo. You can see the line differential now. Like the right side of the A is a lot thinner than the left side. It just looked cool. And then I moved my middle A lines all to the left. Yeah, most of the time, guys, logo designing is about what just looks cool. And you take it and you run with it. And we had some good happy accidents here. Bob Ross would be proud. And I just look for a text here for Boulevard. But I just love the way this arcade logo came out. It looks super clean, and I'm very happy with it. I also like the first one, too. It's more of a traditional, retro-looking arcade logo. I don't know what's happening here. What happened? Am I dead? Am I dead in this video? I'll just show you the final shot of these two logos that we came up with. I'm just searching for a font. But hope you guys enjoyed logo number 2. On to logo number 3 after I show you the high res. All right, here we go. The next up, the last logo for today's episode is going to be coming from Jabriz on Twitter. He said, my sister's skin product logo. And he said, I know it still has the watermark. I was wondering if you could hit it with some of that sauce, baby. I will try my best to hit it with the sauce. So a beauty care, skin care, beauty products, skin care type thing. Script is used a lot, usually lighter fonts, delicate. Personally, the watermark does say Fiverr on his logo. And this, if you want to spend $5 on a logo, I guess there's no better site than Fiverr. But if I could just say any piece of advice, if you have a business that you care about even a little bit, don't use Fiverr for your logo. I guess it has its place, but if this is like your business and like you're putting money behind it, put money into the logo. And I'm not saying what I'm making is going to be, a $1 million logo or anything, but believe me, you hire an independent designer, you'll get a better logo than the one that you see here. Because that flower picture is not going to translate very well. It might look okay on a label, but you want something bold. You want something somebody's going to remember, not like a Shutterstock picture of some flowers. And I made the executive decision on this one to drop the essentials from the brand name. Again, this isn't real. Like, this isn't a commission or anything. And I wouldn't be making these executive decisions if it was. But yeah, I dropped the essentials and we just went with Avada. Very clean. I ended up with that font. You saw me cycling through some font options. So we went with that one right there. It's very delicate. It's very modern. And it's kind of reminds me of like, a lot of the beauty products like Dove, and like even MAC, a lot of them are one word and they're also usually pretty thin in font size and stuff like that. But yeah, that's why I dropped the essentials. You see me putting together what looks like some sort of like razor blade type logo. I assure you it gets a little bit better than this. But I love the text where it's at right there. And I realize now that it looks like they have a little accent mark over the A in Avada. You'll see that in the final rendering of the logo. I'll switch that up a little bit. But the idea here was to basically just create a shape of a flower-ish sunshine? Sun? Just a sun. Like a flowery sun thing. So that was the idea. So I did a rough shape that ended up looking like a razor blade, as you saw. And then we go back in, and I'm doing it with a brush, and I'm just doing it with my mouse. I just wanted to give it a little bit of a softer, more natural edge to it than, like, obviously the sharp razor blades. And I also wanted it to be not perfect. Like, I wanted it to look clean, but I didn't want it to be, like, razor sharp, perfect lines. I wanted it to have a little bit of a drawn feel, tiny bit, just to up the natural. I tried to fit the E in the middle. So you don't need that. You really don't. Like a lot of people that are just getting into logos and graphic design always try to implement something from the name into the logo, but it's really not necessary. So you can see it's taking shape. No pun intended. I try to get some color involved, which I end up getting some color, but I think I thin out the lines a little bit more because they are really thick there. If you can't tell now, you should be able to see in the final product. But yeah, it's an interesting looking thing. It's almost like a paper fan or like a sun meets a flower. I don't know. I like it. I don't know if like that's very similar to like another beauty product logo out there or what, but it's simple enough. And I took that word essentials and I brought it down to like the tagline version of the logo. So instead of skincare made naturally, it's essential skincare made naturally. And you get that bold Avada. Like, I feel like it's very important that you brand the name properly to where it's memorable, short, and like to the point. You know what I mean? So I just add some flavor here by putting some pink everywhere else. And yeah, highlighted the skincare and the naturally. And that's our final logo. And I'll show you it in higher res here. But I hope you guys enjoyed. And thank you guys so much for the support, and hope you guys like the reboot of Fix My Logo, because here we are. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Until next time, stay safe, stay up, and peace out.